Good morning, YouTube. It's Barbara Jean. Um, I have a lot to say today on my favorite topic. I'm going to first start by reading a couple of Bible verses. The first one is 1 Corinthians chapter 13, starting at verse 4. Love is patient and kind. Love is not jealous or boastful. It is not arrogant or rude. Love does not insist on its own way. It is not irritable or resentful. It does not rejoice at wrong, but rejoices in the right. Love bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, endures all things. Love never ends. And skipping down to verse 13. So faith, hope, love abide, these three, but the greatest of these is love. Now I'm going to go over to Ephesians chapter 5, starting at verse 25. Husbands, love your wives as Christ loved the church and gave himself up for her, that he might sanctify her, having cleansed her by the washing of water and the word, that he might present the church to himself in splendor, without spot or wrinkle or any such thing, that she might be holy and without blemish. Even so, husbands should love their wives as their own bodies. He who loves his wife loves himself, for no man ever hates his own flesh, but nourishes and cherishes it as Christ does the church, because we are members of his body. For this reason a man shall leave his father and mother and be joined to his wife, and the two shall become one flesh. This mystery is a profound one, and I am saying that it refers to Christ and the church. However, let every one of you, or each one of you love his wife as himself, and let his wife see that she respects her husband. Okay, my favorite subject, romance. Oh my goodness, my favorite subject. Okay, I am a romantic. Okay, I admit it. I'm a romantic. Okay. um, uh, I wanted to show you some of my romantic things my symbol. You know what? Since I started as a maid, going into people's homes, I've discovered that everybody has symbols. Everybody has a symbol, or several. Some people have several, but most people have at least one symbol that something represents themselves. Some people it's a car, like a Model T Ford, or leopards, or elephants, or Eiffel Towers. Everyone seems to have a symbol. I'll show you my symbol. I have these all over the house, but in see, this is my keychain. So you got a heart on there, and there's another one. This one says love on it. It says love. Can you see that? Love. And I got those on my keychain. Got these hanging from. This is hanging from my desk. It's a heart. It's got flowers on it. Can you see that? It's got flowers. It's kind of a carved thing. It's a heart. I want to show you one of my other favorite, my all-time favorite heart thing, because it incorporates everything that I love the most. Oh, my symbols, that is. See this in here? It incorporates. Oh, I'm turning it the wrong way. It's got my favorite color. It's got roses, which I love. It's got hearts, which I love. It's got cross stitch, which, by the way, I cross stitched in there, which I used to do quite like feverishly. So that's another thing I've got. And then also inside there's a Bible verse. Let me just read that for you. It says, "Come behold the works of the Lord." Psalms 40, 40. I can't read it. Sorry, 46:8. I think it's what it says. Anyway, that's one of my favorite things. Okay, put it back there. Um, yes, I'm a romantic, and interestingly enough, I've never married, and not by my choice, believe me. Or maybe it was by my choice. I'm not really sure about that. But when I was a young girl, 8 years old, God spoke to me very clearly and told me I would not marry. Now, I can't tell you how much that broke my heart, since I was a romantic even then. I knew I was a romantic even then. But God spoke to me and said I was not going to marry. And I didn't really understand that for years and years, why the Lord would tell me something like that. But I understand it now. Of course, being older, the Lord has showed me, my life's purpose and all, and that my singleness has been, part of His purpose. And it's not because I'm fat. Okay, for those out there who just think, wasn't always fat. I have proof. So here's a picture. See that cute little person right there in the front? The skinny, skinny one? That was me when I was part of a dance troupe. I was once skinny and cute. Anyway, so, anyway, I, then the Lord told me I wasn't going to marry. Now, many, many tears later and petitioning to the Lord, He, still insisted, no, you're not going to get married. So, anyway, I became addicted to love. And I once, when I was a teenager, a pastor with good intentions said to me, because I told him I like to read Harlequin romances. Of course, that's when they were a lot cleaner. They're not so clean anymore, believe me. I used to read Harlequin romances as a teenager, and this pastor said to me that they were a waste of time, that um, that you shouldn't be reading those. They're the devil, that sort of stuff. And it just broke my heart because I thought, well, how does a girl get romance if she's not going to get married? Um, but anyway, so I became addicted to romance novels. Sorry, I did. I became addicted to romance novels. And not just romance novels, romance movies. I loved every movie I could find. Romeo and Juliet, When Harry Met Sally. I just think of some of the ones I read. I watched Seven Brides for Seven Brothers, Kiss Me Kate, all the romantic movies. I just love them, and I still love them. And and but I always try to keep it clean because you can't be watching all kind of smutty stuff. And believe me, romance novels have gotten from good romance to smut in the last, I don't know, 20 some odd years. So you have to be really selective. One romantic novelist I really like is Debbie Mackober. Can you read that? She's quite good. And there's some Christian romance novels out there that you can get at Christian bookstores that were really, really good. However, all that to say, I became very, what's the word? I became guilty. I felt guilty because of what that pastor said to me. I felt guilty about my need for romance. Okay, I felt that there was something wrong with me because I had a romantic heart and I liked romantic movies and liked romantic novels and but several years ago, I always prayed about it. I said, Lord, is this a problem for you? Or should I not be reading these novels? Or don't like me to like romance movies or, have a romantic heart? And God never really said anything about it until a few years ago. Actually, I think when I was in my early 40s, the Lord said to me that they were a hindrance. And I didn't understand what He meant at that time. But He later explained to me that He wanted to romance me. He wanted me to be in love with Him. And not just to be in love with love, be in love with Him. And that He would be able to heal my romantic heart or fill my romantic needs. Now, I didn't understand how God could do that. It didn't make a lot of sense to me. God was God, and I'm me. How could God fulfill a woman's romantic heart? God spoke to me, and He said that, um, that first of all, He said to me, that the Bible is full of romance, and it never occurred to me before. I said, yeah, you're right. You think about Ruth and Boaz and Esther and Joseph getting his wife when he became a chancellor of Egypt, and um, Mary and Joseph, Adam and Eve. These are all romantic stories. Of course, a great romance includes a certain scenario. There has to be a certain scenario in romance, and that is that girl meets boy, they fall in love, they lose each other, something happens, there's a misunderstanding, and then they come back together, and usually the boy rescues the girl in some sort of way, and that's what makes a really good romance. And then, of course, there's happily ever after. Well, guess what? That's in the Bible. In fact, the Bible is, in fact, the most romantic. Not only is it the greatest story that ever was told, it's the greatest romance novel, or romance, not even fiction, it's a romance truth. It's a romantic story, the most romantic story that was ever told. Um, Not only just you have these Bible characters people who really lived and had these stories that full of romance and interesting things that happened to them through the power of God coming into their lives and miracles that happened. I mean, that's romantic enough. But then you have Jesus, who is the most romantic. Did you know Jesus is romantic? He is. He is. He's romantic. Ooh. Anyway, um, he died for us. Isn't that amazing? That is got to be the most romantic thing ever. It is the most romantic thing ever. The Bible tells us it is. It tells us it is. And um, I think about, I like one of my favorite movies, series of movies was Lord of the Rings, and not the blood and gore. I hated that part, but of course the romance between Aragorn, the unthroned king, and Arwen, the beautiful princess who was waiting for him to get his throne back and do the heroic thing, and then the big kiss at the end. That was amazing to me. I just loved that part. Um, but anyway, um, I just wanted to say that Jesus is the most romantic of all because he is the king and he is looking for his bride. He is coming to get his bride. He is the rider on the white horse. He is the knight in shining armor. He died for his bride. He died for his church to bring them into his kingdom. That is the most romantic story ever. So those who out there who have romantic hearts and feel guilty for having romantic hearts, well, seek Jesus. He has the most romantic spirit. And I want to prove something to you. Um, the Lord showed me that, years ago when I had, I mean, to let you know now, I hardly ever watch a movie. I hardly ever pick up a romance novel. In fact, I never have to because God has filled my heart so much with His romance, especially in the last few years when I realized that God is romantic. I don't have to be guilty for having a romantic heart. God is a romantic. He loves romance. He loves bringing people together in love. He loves sharing His love with us. He loves filling us up with His love. And He can fill and heal a lonely heart, which He did with me. And I'm telling you, He is romantic. He does special little things. One of the things He did for me years ago, this happened about 5, 6 years ago, no, about 5 years ago, um, the Lord told me He was going to give me a surprise. And I told the woman I was working with, the same woman I'm working with today, and I said, God told me He's going to give me a surprise. And and I didn't know what that surprise could possibly be, but I told her, I said, He said I was going to get a surprise. I don't know what it is or when He's going to give it to me. Of course, a surprise is that you don't know when it's going to happen. So, he told me He was going to give me this surprise, and so I told her this, and so I was waiting, and I didn't know what to expect. Well, anyway, this little lady that I used to keep cleaning the house for, an elderly woman named Mrs. Andrews, she was a sweetheart. Um, in her home was a lovely picture that I've always admired. In fact, almost every other time I would go into her home, I'd tell her how much I really loved this picture of hers. And it was a painting that was given to her parents back around, over 100 years ago, to her parents by someone who came west with them to British Columbia, and painted this picture for them in gratitude for letting them come with them to on this train trip. And anyway, she was moving. She was moving into a senior's residence and couldn't take everything with her. Now, I wasn't expecting anything, but when we walked into her empty apartment to do the final clean for her, this picture was sitting on the floor. Well, I knew it was for me, and I knew that this was the surprise, and I can tell you that I jumped up and down. I think I screamed for a good 5 minutes, clapping my hands and just saying, "Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you." I just prize this picture so much, and it sits in my living room. And every time I look at it, I remember the romantic that the Lord told me He was going to give me a surprise. And to me, this reminds me of God's romantic heart and that He loves me. And so to me, this was really, really special. I'm going to show it to you. Okay? Just hold on just a second. Hope that you can see this. Can you see that? Oh, turning it the wrong way. There we go. Isn't that beautiful? That is the picture. Isn't that gorgeous? Roses. Just to prove to you that our God is a romantic God. Now, if you need romance, I started spending time with the Lord, and He started to show me how romantic and lovely He is. He is truly a lovely, lovely God who fills our whole heart and our whole needs. So I know there's a lot of people out there who have no romance in their life. Read your Bible, it's there. And not only that, but we have a personal God who can actually touch our hearts and heal and fill it with everything that we need. Okay? So anyway, this was just a fun video. I just love talking about love. So God bless you out there today, and those who need this word, God bless you, a special blessing with a romantic hug from the Lord.